Our Jeff Darlington had this to say about one of the biggest storylines this offseason, Tony Romo, and his comparison to one Peyton Manning.
One thing we can point out as it pertains to the similarities to Peyton Manning, when Manning joined the Broncos, he did provide them with some injury insurance. We can look at the fact that he had a guaranteed salary in his first year, but no signing bonus. And then in the years following, he had to pass a physical 10 days before the start of each of those league years. Why that's relevant to Romo? He has 3 broken collarbones in his career and 3 separate back issues. As a result, teams might want some of that injury insurance if he is going to join those teams.
Interesting proposition there. Stephen A. Herm still in the house. Do you think that Tony Romo can be Peyton Manning for the Broncos?
Yes, I do, actually. I don't like the comparison because I don't think it warrants comparisons to Peyton Manning. I think that it should be something sacrilegious to mention Peyton Manning in the same breath as Tony Romo. Tony Romo, who's got 2 career playoff victories on his resume. But clearly, even with back injuries and all of that stuff, he's a better version of what Peyton Manning appeared to be in his very, very last year in Denver. The reason why I say Tony Romo can be that way, however, is because of Denver's defense and the personnel that they have. And last time I checked, C.J. Anderson, Demaryius Thomas, and Emmanuel Sanders are all still on their roster. And so because they're on the offensive side of the ball and the defense is rife with absolute studs, he absolutely can be that guy. I'm just averse to hearing Tony Romo mentioned in the same breath as any champion because him being a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, we know that's not true.
The circumstances are superficially similar. I mean, obviously Tony Romo's no Peyton Manning, and Tony Romo's excellent, and I think you underrate him, Stephen A. But Peyton Manning's the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, and Peyton Manning was an Iron Man before his catastrophic injury. Tony Romo, is death by 1,000 paper cuts. I mean, it's one thing after another, so it's different kind of injury histories. But there are certain superficial similarities. The big picture to me is they don't need Romo in Denver if the rest of the team can rebound. They don't need Romo in Denver to be Peyton Manning in that 55 touchdown season. What the Denver Broncos show, coach, to me is when they won the Super Bowl, they needed a guy just who knew what he was doing. He couldn't even throw it anymore. That was enough to win the Super Bowl, and that's what they'd need out of Romo. They need him to stay on the field.
Well, the year they won it, you're exactly right. Peyton is one of the best quarterbacks ever to read your mail. To put him in the right play. And this was not a passing team. This was a running team built defensively, saying we're going to keep the score down, we're going to give you a short field 2 or 3 times in the game. You score touchdowns, we'll hold them to 19, and we'll be fine. And they were able to do that. Simeon came in this year. They were not the same team. Why? Offensive line issues. And that's what bothers me about Romo going to Denver if he goes.
With the back.
How are you going to protect a guy that's already been hurt? Their running game was not a void this year. That's why this offense kind of went into a shell. It wasn't the same offense. So before we talk about Tony Romo going to Denver, if I'm Tony Romo, I'm going, wait a minute now. I'm going there? Yeah. Really? They had an athletic quarterback, couldn't get out of the way.
Yeah. He couldn't stay healthy with the Cowboys.
There lies the problem. So, to me, I don't know if Denver so much. Houston might be the team that at the end gets Tony Romo. We'll see. I mean, same situation.
Houston seems to make the most sense for him.
Now, I'm going to say what I said before and Stephen A. killed me.
Buffalo?
I'm calling. I'm trading my 5th round pick for Tony Romo. Now, Jerry's probably not going to do it because he loves Tony Romo. Yep. And he's going to let Tony Romo go where he wants to go. But if I'm Buffalo, I'm going to make the call. And I'm going to try to have a conversation with Tony Romo. Say, Tony Romo, let me ask you something now. If you were with the Dallas Cowboys, they got a good offensive line. We got a good offensive line. We got a good runner. We got the #1 running offense in the league. We got some receivers. We got a good tight end.
Got a defense.
Got a defense.
Yep.
Why not?
Where would they be if you're Tony Romo on your list? Would it be Houston 1, Buffalo 2? If you're Romo?
If I'm Romo.
And what about Kansas City?
Stephen A. It won't happen.
We'll get into Kansas City in just a second.
I would want to go to Houston because he's at home.
Stephen A., I have a serious question before we move on and talk about the Chiefs. When Tony Romo is no longer in the Cowboys uniform, are you going to start being nicer to him? Can you be a fan now?
I think Tony Romo's a wonderful guy. Very, very nice guy.
Broncos uniform. You're gonna love it.
Beautiful family and the whole bit. I'm gonna root for Tony Romo. I don't wish any harm to him. It's just that I'm saying, 10 years as a quarterback, 2 playoff victories, and everybody raves about him like he's the second coming. I don't understand.
So he'll be wearing a jersey. We're good.
Yeah, he'll be a different jersey. He won't be on the Cowboys. He don't like Cowboys.
The day that he changes teams.
He can't like the Cowboys. Giant fan. He can't like the Cowboys.
We know. So you guys mentioned the Chiefs. So it seems like we can count out the Chiefs out as the list of possible suitors for Romo right now. The NFL Network is reporting the Chiefs are not interested. GM John Dorsey told CBS Sports Alex Smith will be the starting quarterback in 2017. Should KC be interested in Romo, Max?
I mean, look, I trust Andy Reid's judgment here. He's the quarterback whisperer, right? And he knows what kind of team he wants to have. And if suddenly the Chiefs are cool on Tony Romo, to me, that's Andy Reid saying no. So, who are we to judge from here what he seems to have a good handle on from there? I would say the Chiefs are right if that's what Andy Reid thinks.
Yeah, I don't see, obviously, this happening. Him going to Kansas City. If anything, if Andy Reid had his druthers, he wants to draft Deshaun Watson. That's who he wants. He wants him. He wants him to sit behind Alex Smith for a year or two and say, okay, now I got my guy.
That makes a lot of sense.
If Andy had his wish list, this is what Andy would do. Now, whether he gets him or not, I don't know, but that's the guy he really likes right now.
Let me tell y'all something right now. Max asked the question, who are we to judge? I'll tell you who the hell we are. We're First Take. That's who we are. It's Stephen A. That's who I am. Damn right. I have the right. You go put yourself on public display, in terms of your abilities as a football team. I have the right to judge. And I would say they should absolutely consider Tony Romo because it's time to indict Alex Smith. Alex Smith, you look at the numbers, completing better than 65% of his passes the last 3 years, throwing for over 3,000 yards. But at the same time, he just doesn't seem to have that it factor. He doesn't seem to be the dude who can really get it done for you. And because of that, I think because of the greatness of Andy Reid, what Andy Reid has proven to be as a head coach, combined with that defense, retaining the Eric Berrys of the world, having a wide receiver in Jeremy Maclin for a change, Kelsey as your tight end or what have you, knowing that you're going to be able to do something with Scarcandrick West or anybody else. I'm just of the mindset that you are a quarterback away if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking about a game changer, somebody that has that ability, that it factor potentially. I'm not saying it could be Tony Romo. I'm saying we know it ain't Alex Smith.
Right, in that case,
and at some point in time, we got to do that.
In that case, of course we can comment and offer opinions on the behavior of teams and their front offices and their coaches. My point, Stephen A., is that Andy Reid understands quarterbacks and what he wants out of them. That's been his history. So if he's looking at his guy and thinking, I prefer that guy to that guy, maybe it is based on Romo's history. It would be for me his injury history. Then I will defer to Andy Reid's judgment in this situation. If Reid was bad with quarterbacks, if he didn't have the track record he had, maybe I'd feel differently.
Well, Andy Reid is attached to Alex Smith. Emotionally as well. He loves what Alex Smith brings to the table. He's his quarterback. Not saying that, and speaking of Tony Romo, is Tony Romo that much better than Alex Smith? I mean,
no, whoa.
I mean, I'm just saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
You mean if they're both
I'm saying you got to ask. I'm saying you got to take a chance. Okay. Coach, you yourself know that. You got to take a chance.
Oh, I understand that. Stephen A. No, I agree with you, but I'm saying as much as we say about Alex Smith, it's almost the same story about Tony Romo. Tony Romo's won 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
But to Stephen A's point, Romo has more of that go for, like Alex.
Why?
It's not just check down. It's not.
Well, I'm just saying, but we're talking about winning playoff games, right?
Yeah.
Right? Tony Romo had done that.
Yep.
Now, I will say this. He didn't have the team a lot of times that the Dallas Cowboys have right now.
He didn't have the coach either.
I agree, Stephen A. He didn't have the runner. He didn't have the offensive line. I give him, but he had the tight end.
Yep.
He had the wide receiver. And I'm a Tony Romo fan. I'm not killing Tony Romo, but I'm just asking that question.
Let me ask you a question about Alex Smith. Yes. Is it an issue of, as Stephen A. says, there's something missing in terms of his daring to make it happen? Or is it that his arm simply isn't strong enough, or both?
He is not a guy that can take the team on his back and carry him. He needs auxiliary players. Look, he took the 49ers played pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay? And obviously gets hurt, and then it's over, and Colin Kaepernick goes in there. So he's proven he can win. The problem is when you win like he's done, and he can't get over the hump, then there's a scenario.
Is he more Chad Pennington or Matt Ryan? Because some of the same things were said about Matt Ryan before this year.
But he's Chad in the fact that I don't know if he is. He has Chad's qualities in this sense of accuracy. Chad was very accurate.
Right.
Herm, good to see you. Always a pleasure. You know what I'm taking from this segment? Andy Reid likes Deshaun Watson. People are saying he might not be the first quarterback.
He likes him, Deshaun Watson now.
Yes, my eyes.
You want to take a chance?
Go
get him.
Herm, it's a pleasure.